because it was so horrible. I just wanted to get through it, but the fifth and sixth book, they're a different kind of bad.
All right, let's get going. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Smudcast number 811. Why Forced Diversity is Misunderstood. That's an interesting title from the YouTube channel of lanuarii or lanuarii. I don't know exactly how to pronounce all those vowels. And this came out a month ago, has about 2.5 thousand views, and looks good.
I wanted to ask. I thought this video was like 5 years old or something.
Yeah,
because of the title.
Yeah, exactly. This is a topic that not too many people care about, and maybe this is a niche audience of his. But he's got a very healthy ratio of 245 to 5, so maybe he's only appealing to that audience. I don't know, but this is usually a topic are easily taken apart by the average viewer or by us. It's just a silly thing to talk about at this point in 2024. I mean, we've talked about diversity for decades now, and it's kind of stale.
At this point, it's just so obvious gaslighting. It's insane to even try this at this point.
It's odd to
we know Amazon, BBC, who else? All these Disney. All I have is race quotas for what characters do you have to have? What is the racial makeup of the people you hire? These things are known and open and practiced, and they're horrible. They're the racist crap we didn't want after World War II anymore. It's okay when the left does it.
All right. Well, this is an 11-minute and a half video roughly, and we're going to see where he goes. We might just cut it off short if it's just silly questions and hating others who are different than you. I don't know this guy. We don't know his content. I couldn't tell you. So let's get going with the why forced diversity is misunderstood.
Is it misunderstood or not real?
Oh.
Because his thumbnail says it isn't real.
What?
Yeah.
So what? Oh, these people
probably changed the title.
Oh my god, I hate this.
But these morons.
So he has already lost.
These morons change the title, but they always forget the thumbnail.
Yeah, you can't have
every time.
You can't have an opinion on something if you already have declared it doesn't exist. That's kind of weird. Okay, let's get going.
Oh boy.
Forced diversity. What is it?
The concept of forced diversity.
Forced diversity.
Yes. Forced diversity.
The last Star Wars,
Yeah.
I was like, get the fuck out of here, Laura Dern. You're not running the...
Forced diversity is a term coined by
God.
some who infer that diverse characters or people are forced. It's claimed to be different from normal diversity, which...
Yeah, it's pretty obvious what it is. That's not... You could say forced anything. Forced dialogue, forced characters, forced plots, forced scenes... Forced events, it's a word everyone understands in storytelling. It doesn't matter what the noun is. We get it.
says that differences or human representation are being thrown in their faces. Propaganda and political points are being forced down their throats for open ideals and forcing them to, quote, accept an agenda. Those political points and propaganda, people of color, women and fucking gays in main roles.
Yeah, this is referred to as minorities, and that we have to uplift the minorities, and we don't care. Explaining how Laura Dern with purple hair and a dress and high heels is suddenly a high-ranking military officer in a escaping scenario. Like, if they just explained that,
I tell you, everybody in the cinema thought she was the spy because she was doing all the worst decisions.
yeah, if she,
It was bloody obvious.
if she came
And
from,
no, that's not it.
if she came from a negotiation where you have to dress up and you have a certain decorum with purple hair and you have to wear heels, and she was escaping for her life, and she said that within like 5 seconds, she coming on screen, oh my God, Princess Leia, I just ran away from our negotiation. It was a trap. It's like, okay, don't worry about your dress code. It's like, okay, great. Like, that would have been it. Be like, oh great, she was working for whatever, and she was a high-ranking officer in a negotiation, and we'd be like, okay, cool, whatever. And then she'd say something like, I hate this hair, They had me do it to fit in and be like, yeah, that's stupid. That's right. Like all these Chekhov's guns have to be answered sometime. And you can get it done in dialogue very quickly. And if it's like a plush toy in the middle of the console of the deck of the ship, you're like, where is this? Whose toy is this? Like, you have to answer that. You can't just have stuff that doesn't make sense. So whether it's a woman in a dress with purple hair who's got the personality of a I don't know, like she just doesn't like flyboys. That's her personality. Doesn't like doesn't like Poe. That's her like that. You have to give us some character for us to believe she exists as a character in this story. So it doesn't matter if it's a girl or boy, alien or whatever. It has to make sense.
Yeah, and the thing is that this ideology forces people to check a list of boxes about race and other things that you have to have on screen. That is forced because you have to fill the box. Disney does this. Andor technically fulfilled those boxes, but did it so well that you don't really notice it. They actually try to make sense of it. They worked around it as much as possible. And that may be one of the reasons why Disney wasn't quite happy with the show. The entire problem is that this entire practice is racist, sexist, and all the other ists that you so much complain about. After World War II, we wanted to stop with these things. The people who did that were the Nazis. Because they did these things, just with the arrows pointed in different directions, that you just spun the arrows around, and who's the good and who's the bad guys, who's the oppressed and who's the oppressors. That's all you did. We wrote, for example, the new German Constitution against that, as well as the Human Rights Charter. All so that this practice would stop. And now, about 10, 15 years ago, you, the left, the socialists, started to do again what the socialists of World War II Germany did. You are the Nazis. Pretty much. You call everyone else Nazis, but it's actually you.
All right, let's keep going.
To me, this raises multiple questions, including, how is this any different than normal diversity?
Because it's forced diversity. Why is that difficult to grasp? You know the definition, and you know the definition of just the noun. What's the problem?
You know what forced is?
This is silly.
You know what forced medication is?
What's the difference between a red car and a blue car? Like, dude, what do you... It's not complicated.
Forced. Now, contrary to what you may think, I actually do believe that shoehorning a message into a product can entirely ruin it. Quote, forced diversity can exist in specific intervals with certain products where they try to make their main selling point the diversity of the cast or characters. My immediate reference for this was the all-female Ghostbusters remake, which not only failed as an entertaining film but also created a toxic discourse of go woke or go broke. The movie had a prominent and loud advertising campaign which riled up and made people who liked the original film view the new one in disdain before it even came out. People didn't like the original Ghostbusters because they were all white men. They liked it because it was funny and entertaining. The movie's advertising gave people the mindset to judge the movie by its cast regardless if it was a success or
No. There was maybe one good joke in that trailer, and it did look interesting. Like, oh, that could be fun. And then people who watched the film went, no, this is trash. All the jokes are really bad. And there's maybe one or two other like funny moments. And this movie could have worked, but there was so much crap on top of it, like the product placements and the weird CGI and the dance number and all the ad-libbing. Like everything was just improv. And that can work, but not when the whole film is like that. That's like a bad Saturday Night Live sketch, but the whole film is like that. It doesn't work. So it could have worked as a story, as a bunch of women coming together to do the same thing as the prior or previous Ghostbusters, but the story, the dialogue, all these scenes did not work at all as a drama or as a comedy.
Ghostbusters remake was just the first domino to fall in the chain reaction of forced diversity discourse, and as we will see today, it has made people blindly criticize things for a media's cast rather than its content. We live in a world where
There is no content. All that there is the cast. Because you do not care about substance. Or with you, I mean the left side of politics, the socialist side of politics, the culture war side of politics. Because the culture war is not those who are against the culture war. The culture war is those who wage it, which is the socialists, which is the woke. That's where it comes from. The forced diversity is part of that. It's a tool of that. And they think they have the mindset of what they accuse the horrible, evil capitalists of Hollywood to think like, which is, people will eat up every slop that we make. It will just work, which was never the case in Hollywood, by the way, because there were so many flops. But Hollywood was willing to try things. Hollywood is not anymore willing to try things for some reason.
Yeah, and I think my previous comment about the Ghostbusters is the same. It's just, if the story was there, if the characterization was there, if the drama was there, if the comedy worked, then everyone would go, hey, it's not as good as the original, but there's something there.
And the ideologues think in this fashion of, nobody cares about the substance of a movie. They only care about what happened, that flashy things are on screen, that people make funny noises and such.
Yeah.
So we just replace all the actors with women and black people and gay people, and then that will change society. So everybody will be more women, more black, and more gay.
Yeah, it's like
because then that is better for some reason. And the movie is actually about nothing.
It's the subconscious reasoning that, if there's guns on the screen, people are going to use guns in the future because they see their heroes use weapons and violence. And you're like, yeah, we've talked about this decades ago. It doesn't happen that way. So,
okay.
All right, here's a...
I have to interrupt for real. Space Junk says in the chat he is depressed and we need to cheer him up.
Okay.
And Space Junk, you made one of the most amazing pictures I have seen a few days ago. You have... I don't allow you to be depressed. That was magic.
Well, here's a donation from... Here's a fun little name. I don't know how to read this, but it's Hail Freaking Hit Her. I rather like that one. Hail,
and I wish imperative orders about not being depressed would actually work.
Okay, so Hail can indeed be freaking and can indeed hit people, so that's good. Bro is essentially saying, how is rape any different from regular sex? Yeah, it's essentially the same thing, because MFR, nobody asked for it. Just like how I didn't ask for my European fantasy games and TV shows to look like modern day downtown LA.
Yeah. Or Scandinavia also looks like that now, according to God of War.
All right.
City itself has become a politicized and heavily debated topic due to the past examples of some bad media with diverse casts unfairly being the precedent despite the countless good examples of diverse media existing.
That the Harley Quinn thing was not good.
The Velma thing was not a good example either. So I guess he was
oh my God.
Referring to that as the bad one.
And there's his claim of, there's countless of good examples. No, there are exceptions to the rule, but exceptions to the rule do not break the rule. Spider-Man, the Into the Spider-Verse, that was bearable.
At best, it was a fluke.
Yeah.
Acknowledge the quality of its content. Instead, we have some people arguing against studios and companies to never repeat the same mistake again. And if you go woke, you go broke. It's presented every time there is a success in Hollywood that doesn't prominently feature diversity. In reference to today, it'd be the recent success of Deadpool and Wolverine. This creates an extremist mindset of, you can't put other types of people in my product or else I'll fucking hate it.
It's not about other people, it's about the politics behind them. Because you can't even write... So the problem is, these are all narcissists. They cannot actually write characters. They cannot write stories because they're not creative people. Narcissists only project.
Yeah, but
they when you give them control over a franchise, the instant Tolkien's quote happens. Evil cannot create, only steal and corrupt. Because that's all they can do. That's what happened with She-Hulk.
The example with Deadpool being a second sequel to a name from Marvel that everyone kind of knows because it's the fourth wall breaking, goofy comic book superhero that is just a goofy read, can work because it's really easy to crack stupid jokes and break the fourth wall with a superhero who can't die. It's just like, it's easy to do. Anyone could write a Deadpool comic and it'll work because it's all goofy, fun, silly crap, and you're making all these fourth wall jokes. So it's like, yeah, turn that into a movie. No problem. Do it 3 times. Do it 4 times.
Also, the Deadpool trilogy also flies in the face of the ideology crap as well.
Oh yeah,
and that's saying a lot.
When you have comedy for the purpose of fourth wall breaking, you're making fun of. You're doing self-referential comedy. You're doing modern day comedy. You're doing any kind of jokes that'll land. And with Ryan Reynolds, he doesn't care. He's whatever works. Because all of his
no, that's the thing. No, the thing is, well, he doesn't care about everything else going on, but in terms of the actual product, he does very much care.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying.
Well, the thing you said the important thing. He does whatever works.
Right. And
woke doesn't work. Forced diversity doesn't work.
Yeah, when you hear the behind the scenes or what they did for a scene, they said they had like 10, 20 takes for jokes, and that's like, how can we have quality control? Well, you do like multiple takes, and you try different jokes. So they don't even know exactly what this scene is supposed to feel like, aside from the plot saying, okay, we have to progress this. It's great, but how we get there in the comedy is who knows yet, and they'll just run with it. And with the third movie, I think I haven't seen it yet, but I'm assuming there's more of a through line with Wolverine and trying to save everyone. So they're like, all right, this is a story this is a scene where we got to get Wolverine to do this, but how we get there, I don't know. Deadpool's going to do something goofy, and then it's just all on-screen chemistry with the 2 actors. So that's easy. Yeah,
it's easy because the chemistry. Well, first of all, the chemistry has been there for decades.
Yeah.
At this point,
and
they also care. That's like Reynolds and Jackman also cared to bring the source material to the screen as faithfully as possible. Especially Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
he's been aiming to do this kind of thing for years, more than a decade. After, well, we all know after X-Men Origins, where they butchered the character.
Yeah,
and from that point on, he had dedicated himself to, like, if he ever got the chance again to do the character right. And in 2016, he got the chance, and it was a really good movie.
Yeah, and with the Logan film that did work as a drama from characters that we all know and loved from the Old Man Logan stories, it goes, oh, we can use that as a base and play off all that wonderful tragic element, and
it shows you can actually do serious stories with these materials, with these characters, if you are competent.
Right. Yeah.
Which to the best of my knowledge, Ryan Reynolds has been so far for all 3 of these movies.
And the thing with Deadpool specifically, with the fourth wall breaking, is that's what Deadpool does, and why it works with him, because he's in his comics, he is written in a way where that works, so you know how to do it right. The problem with all the SJW crap is the self-referential crap, is that they kind of sort of do fourth wall breaking all the time because they don't take their own world seriously, and that breaks immersion constantly. The Deadpool fourth wall breaking is actually in universe.
That is his thing. That's why it works.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's Zeke Kyle. How's it going, Zeke? Bro thinks Harley Quinn is good. Effin' Lamau. Well, I'm glad his wife's boyfriend lets him watch it while they're doing their yoga. Good Lord, this idea that minorities have never been in media before is the most egregious case of cultural gaslighting ever. I think most 90s high school style drama, adventure comedies have kids. They hire kids as extras, and you see them in the background. It's like, yeah, this is a high school. No one cares. Whoop-de-doo.
Well, it's just that's just to give those projects at least a little bit more validity when it comes to like actually portraying that stage of life. But ultimately, it just falls apart usually.
Something hit me right now. all these horrible movies that at least I hated as a kid, that were about some franchise that as a kid you liked, and be it the Smurfs. And anytime Hollywood did one of these things, it would not be an actual, for example, Smurfs movie. It would instead be, oh, the Smurfs are now in New York for some reason, and we have real life humans, and they are freaked out by their Smurfs, and we have to hide them and stuff. Which is
Just
the
an
standard
isekai.
that Hollywood did a million times with all sorts of franchises. And
the isekai plot, or
Kind
rather,
of.
reverse isekai. I should say.
yeah, kind of. And I hated those as a child because that's not the actual thing, and that's not the story I want to see. I don't want to see like some one of my magical things that I like in the real world, especially it's always New York. And I could they have done these things so that when the parents take their children to cinema, they have the adults in the movie to relate with them, because Hollywood always fought in this narcissistic projection idiocy where, oh, the audience needs somebody that looks like them to relate with them. Is that it? Is that why all these movies were shit?
Reminds me of the Sonic film. They have to like explain the existence of Sonic in the real world, and then
it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, except that they use a whole villain to be, I am the guy who's going to discover the secret of Sonic, and he's this mechanical genius.
I mean, with Sonic may be, again, an exception to the rule where it kind of worked because they cared. They cared enough.
Oh, yeah. Look at the live-action Super Mario with Hopkins. Like, it's so weird. You're like...
Yeah, that thing goes so out the window that it's its own thing as... Well, now I can look back and appreciate it, kind of. As a kid, I was just like, that's not Super Mario.
Yeah.
The animated movie now, that's Super Mario.
I've seen a lot of forever, and I have also seen it pop up on several occasions with some of my favorite media. I'm a Star Wars fan, and while I recognize that Star Wars fans can be fucking idiots, it did still surprise me when the trailer for The Acolyte dropped, and it was bombarded with an abundance of hatred. It had more dislikes than likes, and the tweets announcing it were full of hate in the replies too. Now, you may be
that's
wondering,
not hate, that's disgust.
Why? Well, it's because the main characters are people of color.
No, we didn't.
Wrong.
We don't care about what the character looks like.
Wrong. Look, everybody would have been fine if the second Disney Star Wars movie would have had Finn as the lead character. Well, except China.
That would have been an easy sell, because you just take the thing that's new, and people liked. I think everyone generally liked Finn. They just didn't like what happened to him. They said, "Wouldn't it be nice if we got a story with Finn where he's the main character?" Like, yeah.
Yeah. All this the entire setup was there.
Like, look at what they did with Obi-Wan. I would have loved to have watched an Obi-Wan story that was good, that made sense, that didn't turn him into a hobo weirdo who's...
Watch the fan film.
It's just, I tried...
The 20 minutes fan film, Kenobi, does what the Obi-Wan show promised to do.
Yeah.
And does it well. It's amazing.
It's like they have all these great characters, all these great IPs and elements and lore to work with, and they just give us garbage. And you're like, what happened? How could you screw this? It's like, let's have a story about Darth Vader. Not to argue that the prequels were amazing or anything, but you watch all the time and effort they put into. Let's tell a story of the beginnings of Darth Vader. And you're like, wow, you can go so far with that. What'd they do? Turn him into a kid. It didn't make too much sense. That was kind of bad. Had him be a 18, 17-year-old gentleman who's goofy and weird. And you're like, all right, turn him into a murderer, fine, whatever. And then bore us for about 40 minutes till you're like, oh, he has a reason to dislike the Jedi. That makes sense. And the Jedi have a reason for him to do a job that they don't want to do. That makes sense. You're like, oh my God, there's conflict that I can wrap my brain around. And then you just rush to the end. You're like, well, at least there was a 20-minute fight scene that everyone enjoyed. So like you have to give the audience the basics of what a genre piece, not a genre piece, what a franchise piece is within, for example, Star Wars, and then tell a good coming of age development turn to the dark side sort of story, all within 3 movies. They could have done that, but they just sort of flubbed it because George was thinking like, oh, we gotta make this for kids, and then we gotta have some Star Destroyers, and a lightsaber. I'll put Yoda in there too. Like all these weird, silly things that didn't have to be there. So, yeah, no, there's lots of ways to tell stories of prequels, but you gotta know. It should have been an easy connect the dots. Like, how do you get the guy in the mask? It's like, oh, jeez, hundreds of different ways to tell that story.
There were a lot of complaints and immediate hatred because the antagonist is black and the protagonist is Asian. And
No, you're lying. Why are you always lying? Why are you people, you socialist fuckwits, always lying? Why is that the only thing you can ever do?
I was pretty.
The show was crap, and it destroyed the lore, and deliberately so.
I was excited to see Carrie-Anne Moss as a Jedi. I'd be like, oh my God, that looks awesome. What's she going to do? Because she's perfect for the role. Well, as far as you could see her in the first episode, she didn't do too much, aside from die. So there's lots of things that are appealing, and if you're going to make the act, like think of an actual acolyte, like a student of a master or a practitioner, you're a nobody. You have no skills. In the first episode, she destroys everyone she comes across. She's like a weapon master. She's dodging. It's like this is not what an acolyte is. This is a master killer. How did we get here? So if you're going to give me the name of the acolyte, make it an acolyte. Make it a dark side user or a dark side student who grows. It's not the most okay. In Star Wars it might be hard because Star Wars is kind of weird right now, but we've had these stories in video games. We've had these stories in the Star Wars universe, and KOTOR is a great example of the first one, at least, of the main character learning things and developing their skills and choosing to go light or dark or somewhere in between. All these great little nuances to the mysticism of the Force. And then the second film or the second game, we get all this wonderful retelling and subversion of the Force. Like, wow, that's interesting. Without breaking anything, without like screwing over the lore that came before it.
Yeah, you can do these things right and you can do them wrong, and Disney is doing them all wrong.
Yeah.
Except for Andor.
It's sad because we have so many examples of it being done right that they even created a brand new universe that they just did not do right while dismissing the existing canon, which was not the best. I'm not saying the EU was amazing.
And what is that? That is removing the substance. And all they keep are the superficialities. The lightsabers and the TIE fighters and all that.
Well, they
dressing.
try to... This is the weird thing I don't understand about Disney, is they decanonized all this stuff, and then they'll make the argument, well, you know what, we're bringing back Cortorsis, or we're bringing back fuel, or we're bringing back the lightsaber whips, and you're like, I thought you got rid of that crap. Now you're
No. They fought because so Kennedy is she's definitely pathological. And she, full of hubris, thought, oh, all this stuff, that's the male Star Wars. So let's throw that out. And let's do something cool. And then she got a witch's coven of female narcissists that are all in her ideology bubble onto the table and said, let's make a thing now. And the problem is, all these narcissists are, of course, not creative. They can't be. They have no empathy. So they couldn't create anything. So she looks from the corner of her eye at the stuff she just threw in the trash and thinks, hey, let's culture vulture it. And that's how you get all these bad, twisted copies of the EU.
All right. Here is Mike Literus. Hey, Mike, how's it going? I'm a huge Star Wars fan. F yourself. No, you're not. You're the mother-in-law to a battered housewife. This is a guy, right? We're listening to a guy, as far as I can tell, who insists you must have done something to deserve it. The battered wife is Star Wars fans in this metaphor, with Star Wars being the husband. Okay, fair enough. I'm a fan of The Thing. I like The Thing, too. I'm one of you guys. Yeah, we've heard that before.
And then we get stabbed in the guts. Or the back, usually the back.
It was like, what erasure of white men from lead roles, huh? Girl power? Listen, regardless of how the show ended up being, or how you feel about the show itself, this is literal proof right here that people didn't give a shit about the quality of the trailer. But
yes, what are you talking?
We could, at this point, so since this diversity crap and bad writing go hand in hand, we can tell that if we see certain things, we can already, and it's in the same vein of all the other stuff, in this case Disney, then we can already conclude that, okay, this is just more crap.
Yeah.
I don't need to bother with it. If I see a certain haircut, there are about 3 distinct haircuts that give away, okay, this is woke crap. You don't even need the skin color.
Yeah.
And then if they put obviously gay people in, because they have to be. You can't just be normal gay. You always have to be visibly gay. Because how else would you know that the character is gay? That's the whole thing with these people. That's why they can't depict certain types of people and always make the most horrible stereotypes out of them that they claim to be fighting, but then they put exactly those stereotypes on screen. Because, well, how else would you know that's a gay person, that's a trans person, that's a black person, if we don't make the black person act black?
It's called good writing.
I can't remember the exact first trailer I saw. Something about it was off, and he referred to that as not seeing the quality of the trailer. Everyone who's a critic who looks at that, or who has an understanding of quality, goes, wait a second, we've seen crap like this before. This is what was probably going to happen. And for most cases, they're right. And we've seen these trailers. We've seen marketing that has lied to us, especially from Star Wars. We go, uh-oh, this doesn't look good. Not because there's a black girl as the main character or an Asian Jedi or whatever. It's something in that trailer feels off. I honestly can't remember what it was because it was like a 30-second thing or whatever. But it did not look right. And I couldn't tell you what it was because it was, months ago.
It's a combination of things. It's like it's some sort of uncanny valley of the entirety of it.
It's ugly, but you can't quite describe the disparity between the nose looks like, I can't describe why the cartilage of the nose is off. It just doesn't look right, or the eyelids. Yeah, there's something that I can't give a technical explanation for, that everyone has this vibe that goes, yes, something doesn't look right. So that's what the quality is to us.
And there's a thing that the leftist activists always see certain patterns everywhere that aren't actually there. They're projecting the magical things they make up in order to divide people, and in order by dividing, they try to control them and try to brainwash them into and make them submit into their whole framework. When the people who don't want to do that usually are the ones who see the patterns of what they're doing, but that pattern recognition is bad, because when you notice the patterns of objective reality, that's oppressive. Because we must, according to the activists, we must dismantle those objective reality patterns and replace them with our magical wishful thinking patterns, and that will rewrite reality into the utopia. And that's why thought crime is bad. So that's why we must like the Acolyte.
Okay.
When the cast was divisive, they were calling it forced diversity and saying Star Wars is dead. I'm also a fan of a show called The Boys, which prominently features a diverse cast. In the latest season, the most
and in the second it made fun of that properly, and in the last episode then did all the crimes that it called out as stupid. What happened there?
Of sorts, they introduce a black female antagonist, and simultaneously, one of our protagonists, who is a man, gets into a relationship with a man. This raised fire in the fandom for some reason, and left a lot of sour comments and people complaining.
Are you sure? Because the second season was full of debauchery and absolutely abhorrent sex scenes. like a tiny shrunken guy walking into the penis of another at an orgy. That was like the entire screen was the glance of the penis. I don't know. I could imagine a lot of people dropping out at that point just because this is too much.
Okay.
Now, the show that features people with superpowers having gigantic cocks that can kill people. Heads exploding, superhero orgies, real-life micro, and so much more. It's an edgy humor's wet dream, and I love the show. But the same people who watch those ridiculous things and laugh are some of the same people who are writing that one of the protagonists kiss a dude, that we have a black antagonist who is smarter than...
There was already in that orgy there was already a lot of gay stuff going on. So you making this up about the third season doesn't make sense.
the mainist, a white man. Both of these shows, like the precedent mentioned previously, are victims of extremists claiming shit is forced diversity, but it doesn't play a role or influence the story in any way, it simply just exists as part of a narrative. Now, when it comes
The Boys
to
is a
forced
horrible
diversity...
example.
To say it's part of the narrative implies it's already part of the story. The narrative is the story, or it's the rendering of the story. So I don't know what he's trying to get at with that. Is he referring to a meta-narrative or some other, like, sub-story? Like, what is he talking about there? I'm a bit confused because it's either there and a problem, or he doesn't see it as a problem and he likes it. So which one is it?
He's not being specific.
Because you can like the diverse elements. We don't like. Yeah, you could like black women and whatever. It's like, but does it work within the context of the setting and the scene? And what does it make sense that they're like that?
Yeah. The second season of The Boys already went so far out the window into Crazy Town and being repulsive and repugnant in so many ways. I still have not felt the urge to watch the third season. I don't care what it does. The second was already horrible.
Reminder that it's from the same guy that wrote basically the best run the Punishers ever had, from the mind of Garth Ennis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then his brain fried and he became a communist.
Yeah, that's the sad part. I'll still die on the hill that Punisher Max is Frank's best book, and by Frank I mean Frank Castle, the Punisher.
Used as a way to one-up a viewer over the makers of a show. This claim is made to show proof or intelligence by certain people claiming they respect authenticity with a product and can appreciate something more when they aren't fully faced with an agenda. That people existing is okay, but it being forced on you is not. If it's authentic, they'll respect it. And clearly
that makes perfect sense. This goes into the fact that most people don't care about the personal lives or family life or interpersonal relations of other people in general, but we respect the fact that you have whatever you want. Just don't put it in front of my face. And when you do that, it doesn't matter if it's diverse or this or that, it's shocking, and you have to explain why you're doing it outside of shock value. If it's just jump scares with lesbians, I'm like, I don't care. This is not why I'm watching a story. So, or reading a book, or like there has to be a reason. Like I got a dumb reason in the book I always refer to of a whole island of Madagascar is a bunch of trans people. It's a culture. Like that's how they're raised. You're like, okay, that's a really, really weird element for a sci-fi story of Scythe, the third book. And even my left-leaning fellow who read this was like, this is like just think about it for 2 seconds. That no one went around saying, wait a second, you're a male in the morning and the evening. It doesn't matter what you think you are, you're still a physical male. Are we brainwashing ourselves to think, is this a cult? Like like something else is going on.
Yes.
For that to work that way. You can't just have an entire island of Madagascar where everyone is raised to think that way. It doesn't make too much sense. All right. Here's a donation from Nick Gurr. Thank you, Nick. Yes, The Boys, the comic actually stuck to the satire of the superhero zeitgeist and lampooning of Copro Aries? Political and personal corruption. And
Can't help you there. I don't see the super chats.
COPROARYS. I don't know. COPROARYS. What is that?
Corporeus?
Corporeus?
Corporeus, I guess.
I don't know.
But I was going to say, yeah, the boys comic was pretty on point with what it was saying about the genre.
Yeah.
The show was just bullshit.
Let's do extreme things to make the audience feel extreme things.
Yeah. And
unfortunately, guess what? The comic itself already did that with being on point about the genre, at least for the time. Again, the show goes way off into bullshit. It's like it is far from the source at this point so far.
Here's the rest of the.
Like all things these people touch.
That goes without saying.
And the actual boys team were an actual threat to the Supes. Also, Starlight isn't a huge bitch in the comic. Oh.
Yeah. That was a massive change right from the get-go. Swear to God.
Show that person's respect since they're so high regarded. Except, once more, how do you navigate the differentiation between typical diversity and one that is intended to be forced? Quote, forced diversity is an agenda to push diversity down our throats.
Yes, they get lists. They get ordered, you have to have this many black people, women, and Asians, and gay people, and whatever else we can come up with in your show. We are at a point where we have racial quotas in companies. The BBC has, the BBC is a corporation, but same difference. They have hiring practices based on race. If you are not the correct race, you don't get a job. That's where we are at. That's what the Nazis did, you Nazi. Since they like calling people Nazis for no reason, let's call them Nazis for a reason. Because they support a Nazi practice. It's just that they have turned the arrows around.
And all this just flies in the face of the Civil Rights Act, too.
Exactly. Well, the Human Rights Charter.
Yeah.
They're discriminating based on race. You don't get a job because you're not the correct race. That is discrimination based on race.
Yeah,
you get something gifted to you because of your race. That is also discrimination based on race because it's a positive discrimination.
But
in order for you to get that, other people won't who might have rather deserved that.
Yeah. We are at the point where people are starting to question, it's like, if they're doing all this shit the other way around, then what was even the point of the Civil Rights Act, which was designed to stop this?
In the Calimero in the chat, we're not listening to them. Politicians are just doing it. Socialists, when they're in power, they just push these things through. They don't care what the people want. They want to set up their crazy evil tyranny systems because they want to create their evil tyranny that they sell as utopia. And useful crapheads like this guy, they push it. And I don't know whether he actually believes this mental gymnastics crap and the lies he spews, or whether he knows that he's lying.
I'm always reminded
Either way, he's horrible.
By Shakespeare's Othello, because there's no clear ethnicity of what Othello was, aside from being Moorish, which could mean anything in Africa. It could mean Ethiopian or like some Egyptian. It could be anything. But
Moorish tends to refer to the people from Mauritania.
We tend to refer to those people as dark skinned, so it's usually portrayed as a black actor, and that's why we don't care if some other guy plays him who's not as black or not as Ethiopian or whatever. Now, if in Shakespeare's time, 1600s, they had all male actors. We don't really care anyway. The males played the females. We get it. It's not a big deal. But nowadays, if you're doing a Shakespearean story, unless it's an adaptation, just go with the classic, go with what it was intended, and you could just get anyone of African descent and everyone would be fine. It wouldn't
so
bother
hard
anyone.
to find a theater that plays a classic properly. Everybody wants to be the guy who makes, I've put my own spin on it. Theater has done this forever, and that's
make,
exactly the same problem.
I'll make.
I put my own spin on it. Here, have an electric guitar. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want an electric guitar on my Shakespeare.
Let's make Othello a female Scottish redhead or something. Like, wait a second, that's not going to work very well. Anyway.
Portion of actors compared to the subject matter of the medium, which I think is bullshit. There can be a piece of media that is seen as mediocre with a diverse cast, but what makes it mediocre isn't the fact that it has a diverse cast, just that the product itself is mid. There are plenty of films or TV shows with the
So you admit that Rise of Skywalker is crap. You're not making our argument. You just deny us that we actually don't like the lack of substance.
This might devolve into another argument where he admits, or the audience, or whoever this argument is from, admits that, yes, it's about the story, but why not have diversity anyway? And you're like, wait a second. So you want a good story with forced diversity? You're contradicting yourself. You want the good story where you don't have forced elements, period, outside of anything. You don't want that in there. So if he's going to go that route, it's going to be pretty obvious, but he seems to not care so far until he tells us, well, diversity matters. Like, well, no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. When you're telling a story, unless the story is about two cultures coming together, or culture shock, or coming of age in a foreign land, something along those lines, where that's one of the major themes. But if you don't go that route and explain why your character is different and doesn't feel like it belongs, you have to really give us some backstory there. Okay. Here is Nick Grr again for the donation. Sorry, meant to write corporate. I thought so. Autocorrect is bullshit, man. As for the queers question, is he a queer? I have no idea. If a minority character has a huge moment where they badger a white character for privilege, or is always shown to be in the right, chances are it's forced diversity. I've never seen that. Is that a thing in movies?
It's part of the narrative, and some do that. Though I couldn't give you an example off the top of my head. I repress these experiences because they're just horrible. You want to forget these crap movies.
I can't imagine a university student asking a white guy in a story to check his privilege or some nonsense. It's just like, this is silly. You just walk out of the theater.
that are shitty, but no one has poked at it and gone, hey, this is bad because it's full of white guys. Except the vice versa scenario has happened several times.
That's literally what you morons say.
Constantly. That was your complaint about Wukong does the Asian thing.
Right.
But, there's no white, there's no black people here. You would have done the same for Ragnarok if it hadn't a forced diversity cast, which, by the way, makes no sense in Norse mythology.
They said it about Witcher 3 a long time ago.
Yeah.
Oh, and Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Yeah.
And this guy just said it about Deadpool and Wolverine in this very video.
Yeah, it's
why are you lying?
It's as if we don't care about the cast being XYZ color, and they do. Because they want it. And we're like, give us a reason why it's in there. Just tell, why are there black people in the Dark Ages of Northern Europe? How does that work?
If you are lying like that, either there's something wrong with your brain, or you are evil.
Let alone lying about something that he himself did in this very same video earlier.
Okay.
Such a bad precedent or something like that. Pointing at Deadpool and Wolverine when he said that.
This is what pathological lying looks like.
Yeah.
Claim something is shitty because of a diverse cast. Even if the actors or the people aren't ones that caused the movie to be bad, it's just that movie sucked because of other factors. So why is that point never made from the opposing side about it?
We do it all the time to explain bad movies, bad games, bad TV shows, etc.
You just don't want to hear it unless it's the Rise of Skywalker that you only hate because it retconned TLJ that retconned everything else. Because you didn't like the retcons being retconned. And man, will you throw a tantrum once Games Workshop retcons the retcon of the custodies.
Oh god, the orcs and all this nonsense. D&D.
And the thing is with Games Workshop is they retcon stuff all the bloody time for absolutely no sensible reason. So they could just retcon the retcon. And man, would the SJWs hate it. And Games Workshop would lose exactly 0 money. They would probably make more. Because the few SJWs that play Warhammer, we know. Hey, we've seen the Dust Bowl in Concord player numbers. We know you don't buy your own ideology products.
To the point where Concord's already dead. Not even 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I actually,
and it's giving refunds to everyone.
I actually never.
That's double entendre.
I never.
Yeah, it's like that's the double entendre on top of just being a shit woke game.
I never.
So
well, they don't really need the what is that, like 200,000 that they made with sales.
Oh, really?
That's nothing. And when they got over $1 million in tax funding to make their game.
Yeah, I've heard about that. This is
and supposedly taking all the massive amount of funds from sales of Stellar Blade, supposedly.
Oh
yeah, they complained about Stellar Blade for not being diverse and being too sexy.
Because
South
Koreans,
that was before, yeah.
Like sexy Asian-looking women. It's like, yeah, what's wrong with
everyone does. Get over it.
Yeah,
because women shouldn't look good. It makes the ugly women feel sad.
Yeah,
because
jealous.
Because this is the thing this is the thing they would never admit. It's like even straight women, like seeing attractive women on screen.
Yeah. And
because
straight
that's
women,
how they can put themselves into the experience.
Yeah,
Simple.
also straight women like lesbian porn because lesbian porn is the porn everybody likes.
Okay.
And when
people may not want to hear it, but that's just a reality.
Yeah, and when the SJWs put lesbians in their shows and movies, everybody hates it because it's just repulsive.
Well, I never heard about Concord until this week, and when I saw what the fuss was about, I was like, "Well, that's not going to look." People don't want to play these characters. There's like 8 or 9 of them that don't look attractive.
All repulsive.
Oh, well, of course. The game's already dead not even 2 weeks after its release.
I saw no marketing. I had no idea it existed. And then once it got canceled...
They tried to use the ugly woke designs as their marketing, and it backfired so spectacularly, it's hilarious.
Okay.
They actively tried to use the bad designs to market the game, and even then, it's that the tactic still failed.
Yeah, I took a break from playing the First Descendant, which just released a new character who was this gorgeous-looking girl, and I'm like, oh yeah, that would sell. People would buy that.
another game they complained about, by the way, First Descendant.
Yeah, that's
for the same reasons as Stellar Blade, at least some of the same reasons.
Yeah, there's a lot of attractive.
Attractive women, yeah.
Men,
it's like
they're all attractive. Yeah,
the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
All right.
Everybody loved May from Overwatch.
Yeah.
Not white, not slim.
She was cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the difference is, but the difference compared to the modern crap of Concord, it's just like everyone liked her. Everyone.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like people have no trouble with characters of different races or not being this one specific body type. No, people are fine with a lot of things. They're just not fine with whatever the woke people make because they can't actually make anything good.
If they're even making anything in the first place.
The closest thing to something bearable was Borderlands 2, and that wasn't down the drain yet. That was still kind of funny.
Well, by the accounts of a lot of people, Handsome Jack kind of carried the game comedically.
Of course.
Which, by the way, if I remember correctly, Handsome Jack's actor is the same guy that did Cell in Dragon Ball Z. Damien Clark.
Okay.
Just as a little tidbit. But yeah, it's like, to the point about me, it's like, doesn't matter. It's like this, she doesn't look a specific way. It's like, it's just a matter of character. It's a matter of character. It's a matter of the writing. Which is what completely backfired on Concord because they did none of that. Let alone the original design of the main character that we just leaked. Yeah.
Why, aside from the gameplay, I didn't like Diablo 3. I didn't like the writing. It was forced, ham-fisted.
It's like with Concord, let alone the original design for Amari, the main character that just got leaked a little while ago. That's what they took from us. Straight up. It's just and just to go on this tangent for a little bit, it's like the original design looks so much better. In fact, let me fetch it while I talk about it. It's like it was basically the best thing I can describe it as is basically Bungie's take on Samus Aran. It's like that's how I see it.
That sounds very cool, actually.
I'll fetch the two images about the design. So now, I think now we can keep going. But all left to say, it's like we lost a really good design, possibly two. I'll be putting this in Smudcast discussion for everyone to see.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's
So
keep
with
going.
that said, we can keep going.
Yeah, Bayonetta 3 was shit for the same reason.
Yeah.
Uglified to hell, and the writing was absolutely unbearable. The new characters are completely unbearable. Ugly as hell and unbearable. And the game design was erroneous, simply speaking. The game had bugs aside from that. And it's just... I personally, I believe Breath of the... Tears of the Kingdom was affected by this crap. And that's why the story didn't make any bloody sense. Because for the mythological angle of that game, they decided, hey, let's take Baphomet and make him into a cuddly furry and have him be married to the first Hyrulean queen.
Dear God Almighty. Yeah. It hurts.
And I showed Gingerman a side-by-side picture between what they did to Rauru by turning him into furry Baphomet and an actual picture of Baphomet from the, 16th, 17th century. I know we can't unsee it.
Believe me, it's like just the lore inconsistencies already had me thrown for a loop, pissed off at the game. It's like, and I'm a pretty big lore buff. It's like on top of that, the writing being so dog shit compared to even the previous game.
Absolutely glued together crap, repetition, copies from older games, and all meshed into a ball of nonsense, all with Gnosticism behind it. And the only time when you get Gnosticism in anything seems to be when the woke is involved. As with Galactica. Galactica's atrocious writing and lack of game mechanics lead up to a story of, we're going to the core of the galaxy where we find God, and then we teach God how to feel nice.
Oh God! All right.
Yeah, and this is still part of the same issue of these people cannot create anything for shit because they just take, at least in the case of Tears of the Kingdom, they took a lot of shit that worked before and they dumbed it down so much. A case in point, Ganondorf.
Oh God!
All right. We are.
Why is there Ganondorf and not King Demise?
Very last thing I'll say on that specifically. This one thing. The Tears Ganondorf is a massive downgrade from his last appearance in Twilight Princess from, by the time the Tears came out, 17 years prior. 17 years. Massive difference. That's the level we're at right now. With even a franchise this big, these people still get in and demolish it. Like
Wind
that.
Waker Ganondorf had more to him.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, but with all that said, that's a whole other discussion. Let's just go back to this.
Okay. Here's a super chat from Mr. Frog Jupiter. Thank you, sir, for the 2. The virtues of wokeism is the 7 deadly sins.
Basically.
Yes, that is completely true because it's upside down.
Yeah. It can be argued, yeah.
That's a weird sentence, but okay, I see what you're saying there. Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Diversity. I mean, there are plenty of drunk white guy sitcoms that people enjoy and no one has pointed at them saying, see this movie? You know why it's good? Because it doesn't have a black gay man in it. Nobody has said that. But if a movie performs terribly or is shitty, featuring a diverse audience, it gets hit with...
No. Dude, what is your example here?
It's like, that's what
you culturally appropriate a Dutch fairy tale that Disney already Disneyfied, and then you racially dismantle it with this ugly woman who is, aside from her skin color, ugly, but her skin color also makes no bloody sense. And then all the rest of the movie is unbearable. The trailer could already tell that, what the hell is this? This is not Ariel. This is not a Little Mermaid. This is some culture war garbage. Everybody could see that.
Yeah, what uses melanin at several hundred leagues under the water?
What use is it up here in Europe in the first place?
Yeah.
You'll just get vitamin D deficiency and die of depression or psychosis or the malformed bones, which hurt like hell.
I always bring up the example of the 97 Cinderella made for TV, which had a specifically diverse cast. Like Whoopi Goldberg was the queen, and there was a white king, and the prince was white, and Cinderella was black. They were just there. It's a magical fairy tale story of a bunch of people singing and dancing in the style of the story of Cinderella. That's all it was. It never cared about blacks or whites. They just wanted to do it, and they did it. And it was a fun TV film, and everyone thought, hey, that was kind of fun. And that was like 2 weeks of news. That was it. And everyone went, yeah, great, cool.
And Goji in the chat brings up Gods of Egypt, which was lambasted for having non-Egyptians playing the Egyptian gods.
Oh, yeah.
But this is okay. This is okay when you do it this way around. That's what I mean. It's they just turned the arrows around on the race chart on who gets to do what. They didn't remove the arrows and said, no, the race game is bad. Instead, they want to play the race game, but in a certain direction.
All right, we are at 6 minutes.
Go woke, you go broke. That's just not fair. What forced diversity actually
is fair. It is very fair because you make shit, and
wait a second.
You get left in the shit you made.
Is he arguing that when people don't buy a thing because it's woke, it's not fair?
That was such a childish remark. It's not fair.
This is no one's buying my electric vehicle or my hybrid car. Oh, it's not fair, guys. Like
I used 200 hours to make a shit cake, and now nobody wants to eat it.
Like what?
They should pay me $200 million because I worked for 200 hours to make the shit cake.
Whoever said business and marketing and sales and working hard was fair? What are you talking about? This is like, oh, the thing that I admire.
Smart. It's the labor theory of value.
This is so stupid.
Yes, the labor theory of value is stupid. The labor theory of value is you put X hours of work into something, therefore you should be rewarded with money for X hours of work, regardless of what the work was. You should be rewarded just for having been there.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not an economic theory. That's garbage. That's nonsense. That's a scam.
Just because you think this product is gold doesn't mean everyone else wants to buy it. That's silly. You make products and services for the marketplace that wants the you don't just make random widget and think, wow, it fits on your car. It makes noise. Like, who's going to... Did you do any tests? Did you ask people beforehand they want a chocolate-flavored hot dog? Like, what are you doing? What is happening?
Hunt Rabbit pointed out something we missed about the Gods of Egypt. If they had actually used Egyptians, then the woke would be screeching that they aren't black.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well. Anyway.
How could we miss this?
He's now deviating from his reasonable script, and he's going into, it's not fair. Guys, like, what are you doing? Like, you can't ruin our philosophy by not doing the financial things. Like, what are you talking about?
I was going to say, it's not fair that a sane-minded human being that wants to be entertained doesn't buy the shit.
Yeah.
Why isn't that modern audience you make these movies for watching it?
It's like the...
you keep telling everyone that modern audience is so big.
It's like the universe of Arkham games. We always list Kill the Justice League as the worst because it doesn't belong in the Arkham world. It's so bad.
It isn't. It's not in the Arkham world. What are you talking about?
So everything everything the woke make is at best the Star Wars Christmas special.
Oh,
What?
At best.
it's hard to wrap my brain around.
Quality. Okay, quality wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now I get it. Yeah, like at best they reach that level. Okay.
All right, let's keep going.
Diversity that doesn't make people look good, but rather the company or corporations themselves, to hide scandals or to get more audiences and seats. Like, hey guys, we're inclusive, you should take a look. But believing this is the case anytime something is diverse creates a problem. That mindset.
That's reality. That is what they're doing.
Yeah, I remember the behind the scenes of Ragnarok, and the guys we put all these paintings all over the world so that you would look at it, but those were really love stories between the two dwarven characters that we never talked about. It's like you literally put all these paintings all throughout the setting because you wanted to tell the story not within the narrative, but just in your own way, secondary, as an element of having these two gay men be like, why would you, like, what's the point? Like, there's no reason to have media pointing to that because some closeted man in the writer's room, well, let's do this. Let's have this fun little painting crap. You're like, no, that, like, it's such always waste of energy. Like, just make them gay. I don't care. Go for it. See how that works with the narrative. It doesn't, but all these dumb things in that game that didn't have to be there. The characterization of those two guys, the one guy killing Odin as a result of that, Freya calling herself the queen and telling Odin to bow down to her. Like, all these little weird asides that don't fit. It's these silly little elements that they keep pushing the narrative in a certain direction, even if it's just an aside. That's jarring. That's breaking the flow of the story. When they do have these wonderful soliloquies and asides of the main characters doing their monologues or their inner monologues, that's fine. Just doing all this other junk that doesn't fit the characters always makes me feel like I'm watching a bad telling of Marriage of Figaro or all these other weird, all these other fun stories that do have asides that work very well. I don't know. It's I feel like these writers never actually listened to the classics or read literature properly and understood stage directions. Anyway.
These people are smart enough
Believing
to
having
learn
actual
anything.
diverse human beings involved means a product will automatically fail. Totally unfair, and it eliminates the guy.
No. It's not about fair. It's about does it work? Does it sound right? Does it fit within the story and the setting? Does your transsexual lesbian character work within this world you created? Yes or no? How'd they get there? Why?
The answer to all of it is always no.
People don't want ham-fisted dialogue. They don't want ham-fisted storytelling. And I don't want your ideological preaching. But the problem is that your ilk can only do that because you don't have anything else in your brains. So that's all you do. So your characters aren't characters. They're just hollow husks that exist as their superficial attributes. The black guy is a black guy. The gay dude is a gay dude.
Nothing else after that.
Yeah. And you make the entire things that. And nobody needs that because that's a cardboard.
Yeah,
and when all your characters are cardboards, then there's no movie.
Think of it like
there's just a waste of time. It's just propaganda. That's your So that is why this is fetishism.
Yeah,
it's political fetishism.
Think of your.
You just want to see these things, and it gives you a little dopamine high when you see these things, and that's fine for you because you don't care about substance. Maybe you can't process it. Maybe you can't even detect it. You can only see these things that give you dopamine highs.
Yeah,
that's why I don't understand why other people don't like that and want something else.
Most people don't care about superficiality.
Yeah,
we do care about substance.
That's called being an adult.
It's the function. Yeah. It's the function of these things that need to be clear, and all this superfluous information needs to be forgotten. Like, if you are in a professional environment, you want everyone to work professionally, efficiently, do their job, help you out with theirs if you have a problem with, or they have a problem and you can help them out. Like if you introduce yourself to your coworkers, like, hi, I'm Steve, I like snorkeling and I'm gay. You're like, okay, that's too much information. I didn't need to know that. We could learn about each other as we work together, and you could share your experiences on the weekend, what you did, and I'll glean that naturally by, oh, this person has a partner and is a male. Oh, you're gay. Great. We're not supposed to talk about certain topics.
You don't come out with that up front.
And when you have that striking, like, it's like nudity in a movie. It's like, boom, like, oh my God, where did this come from? Why did this happen? It's it pulls you out very quickly of the narrative. And that's what you don't want to do. If I'm going to have violence or nudity or sex or anything that's like shocking and big, like a jump scare, I want it to happen organically and naturally, because the setting is a strip club, or the setting is a military operation, or whatever the context is. So it goes, oh, that's why there's a dead body in the ground. Okay. That's why there's a ghost haunting the mansion, or whatever. It has to happen, and it has to make sense within the setting, within the context, within the time period, the narrative, all that jazz. So you can do crazy shit like the tranny Nazi whatever you want to surprise us with, but it has to fit. That's it. Just have your characters fit. Put the square peg in the square hole, and we don't care what that square is. It doesn't bother us.
That's why it worked for Hellsing, it worked for Sucker Punch.
Oh yeah, Hellsing it was great. It was so over the top. You're like, all right, what's next? A blimp, of course. A Zeppelin, a Nazi Zeppelin. Of course they're going to do that. It's giant.
And it's why Iron Sky 1 worked.
Oh, really, huh? I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you haven't seen Iron Sky?
No, I haven't, no.
Oh, my God. Watch Party. Watch Party.
Oh, yeah? All these bad...
There's only one Iron Sky, by the way. There are no sequels.
Okay.
Sadly.
All right.
They had the perfect setup. I don't know how you can mess up that setup.
Okay.
Speaking of the geist of equality, there's one thing that I believe is very important. That thing is called representation. Representation, especially done correctly, not thrown in your...
It's the same diversity, like, what are you talking about? It's the same thing.
Yes, correctly, aka the exact way you idiots can't do it. There is a way to do it. You people just don't care.
Am I?
You don't care about doing it right. You only care about having the superficial things there.
Am I incorrect in saying it's synonymous?
Your mental children in old bodies.
Are these the same terms? He's just using different words. Diversity and representation. These are the same things, right?
They are the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Generally, yeah.
They exist for each other. It's a symbiosis.
I'm not seeing the difference here. Okay, let's see what he has to say about it.
Only made the face of a character, or so they claim, but natural, developed representation. This can be the case for race, sexuality, mental checks, or anything of the sort. And I believe that a character's differences can be the plot point or a story beat, just not the forefront of their...
A plot point? What? Why would you how would that even be a plot point? I'm going to learn about Steve. Steve's autistic. Oh my God, I went through his file. It's like, so? What... Like, do I have to go through do I have to have a character hack into a psychiatric office or talk to...
People are not... The short of it is, people are not character sheets. People are not numbers.
This is like the...
Nazis treated people as numbers due to their superficial attributes, and based on those numbers decided, oh, those are not going to live anymore.
Yeah, this is like
and that's kind of what these people do.
Every show has to be a police procedural where the cops go talk to the doctor and get some information on the perp, and it's like, oh, they have autism, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, to do this and to do storytelling right, you don't just tell us what the character's special attributes are. You show, don't tell. And if you are incapable of doing that, then don't be a writer. The second Dune trilogy is completely wrecking the first. It's basically a 80s version of exactly this kind of destruction. Because I don't believe that the second trilogy was written by Frank Herbert. It's just his name on the cover. and it was already written by his son or whomever, who was completely incompetent. Because, for example, the Bene Gesserit are set up, and right now people are aware of what the Bene Gesserit are because of the new Dune movies. So the Bene Gesserit are set up as these very stoic, manipulative witches. That is being said. It's also being shown. In the second trilogy, the Bene Gesserit play the main role, and they're basically just giddy girls in some Hogwarts-like dormitory, basically. And in the end also say like, oh no, they're just pretending to be all this cold-faced when non-Bene Gesserit are around. At the same time, they denounce emotion, although they are constantly being emotional, and the whole thought process of them when you read what characters think is just emotional babble and nonsense. And the plot is then that they need to open up again about that, because the fake Frank Herbert doesn't even understand what stoicism is.
Well,
because that's what the Bene Gesserit actually do.
If we talk about plot points, meaning a point in a story that a character must go through to progress the story, whether that's just a succession of events, or it's like a key to a door, they need the key to keep going. Having a reveal that the character is neurodivergent, or has, like, we use the technological brain scanner and we figure out what's in their engram or whatever, like all this nonsense. It's like, it's not really that what you do. This is maybe done in murder mysteries where you're getting the background information. Like, oh, they were secretly married 20 years ago and blah, blah, blah. Oh, he's the sister of that person. It's like, okay, great. Like you could tell these weird elements in those stories because that's how they naturally progress. But if you are going to have this and have a character sheet, or have a fantasy story or a science fiction story where you learn, oh, this person's a psychopath. It's like, you can show that because he killed a bunch of people, or you could talk about the allusion to what kind of profile this might be. But it's not, you can just do a flashback. You do all kinds of different things to tell the story of these characters in a simpler way than to talk about they have mental conditions, they have split personality nonsense, they've got all these weird things going around. And even then, it
doesn't matter to say them, it's important to display them.
And it's going to be something a bit more interesting than, I think I'm a guy when I'm born a girl. Yeah. That's silly. That's a waste of my time.
A good show about autism is Atypical. As of only 2 or 3 seasons, I believe. And that was done pretty well. And that's also the sister is also going through a self-discovery queer phase. And so she's going to the queer club at her school. And then leaves again because it's all weird to her with the pronoun stuff. And it felt more like a cult to her, so she left.
It's
great.
He showed this scene of I think it's called The Good Doctor, and the guy's a genius, and I think he has either Asperger's or autism. I can't remember which one it is. So he talks a little weird, and he's very curt. He's very straightforward.
You usually say high-functioning autism.
Yeah, something like that.
Asperger, we at this point, I think, is classified as the low-functioning.
Oh, okay. It could.
And the low-functioning autist isn't the doctor.
Either way, it's not a plot reveal. It's not a plot point. It's just his character, and it shows that a guy like that can be an amazing doctor, and that's the premise of the story. It's not a plot point or a plot reveal. So I don't know if this guy understands narrative very well, but that's not a great example of the argument of diversity or representation. That's kind of silly. There's plenty of people with all kinds of neurological conditions that are fully functional in society. And
since Jay Jameson asked, the books by fake Herbert are completely contradictory. He writes that things are one thing, but doesn't actually write them that way. So it's not just tell, don't show. It's tell, but show the opposite. Show something else. To be specific, you asked about the Litany of Fears. What exactly? So the Litany of Fear is still super awesome and works, except for the Mother Superior, who dismisses it and due to the idiot author, instead does something else. She just confronts her fear, which is kind of what the Litany of Fear is about, which means the fake Herbert didn't even understand what the Litany of Fear is about. And then a few chapters later, the Litany of Fear is, of course, the best thing against fear again. So it's random. There were passages that felt like they were written while on weed. And a few chapters later, there was a passage. I showed it in my channel to some guys, and I think Rabbit commented on it as that reads as if written on acid, because the sentences don't even make any fucking sense. And don't try to read these; they will drive you insane. Because the grammar is unreadable, the sentence structure is unreadable. It's full of compound words that don't exist in English, that are just translations from German or Yiddish words into English. And the 5th book is just an excuse to write a sex scene at the end. And the 6th book is an excuse to write a sex scene with a child at the end.
All right.
It's quite horrible.
Okay.
Don't read it. Don't waste money on it.
All
Don't
right.
waste nerves on it.
Let us keep going. We're almost at the 2-minute mark.
Like so, a gay character can fight prejudice or hatred as a point of a story. Say, they're kicked off a team, or clearly counted out from a specific scenario because of their orientation. This is a storyline motivated by their orientation, but it does not add onto their character. Instead, it adds onto their struggle. A character can be a secret agent who's married to a dude, and their relationship is casual. No one points at them and goes, "Look, they're gay," or, I mean, they can. There could be a scenario.
That's what you do. You write articles about these things. These alleged games journalism sites, they praise any game that does these things and give them high scores. And if games don't have that, they give them low scores, because they don't actually care about what the game mechanics are or the story of the game. They care about whether they get their dopamine highs from their political fetishes.
What was the...
And it's the same with movies. That's why critics give really good movies bad scores when they don't fulfill the culture war dogma.
What was the movie or game that came out like last week? Some blog post that it's a good XYZ, but it's not diverse enough. Like that was the title.
Is that Black Myth Wukong?
I don't remember.
They did complain that Black Myth Wukong is not diverse enough, and it doesn't have any women. Well, they come in Act 3 or 4 or something, and then it's still just monster mythological things.
Oh dear.
But that shows that the games journalists don't even play that far.
Yeah.
I don't get my dopamine high early on.
It's such a silly argument. It's not like if you're going to tell a story about Scandinavian people. Oh, there's too many Scandinavians. Like what? What are you talking about? It's supposed to be Scandinavian.
I think that was either in Denmark or the Netherlands a couple of years ago at some film fest, where somebody made a native film. I think it was in Denmark.
Yeah.
And some stupid reporter asked, "Oh, why is your movies not so diverse? Why is that?" And he said, "It's a movie about the Danish in Denmark." And the journalist asked another stupid question, because he's a bit brain damaged, like all of these people, because they don't understand why are there only white people in the thing about the country where there's only white people? Well, because there's representative of the country and the people.
Yeah, Witcher 3.
Exactly.
Where the character's family is important to them, and an episode of that show consists of a line or a scenario where they're prejudiced against or celebrated by a family member because of their orientation. Like that character or his partner mentions that their mother isn't around because of who they are, or they actually show that.
And why would we care? How is that relevant to the fucking plot?
Yeah.
If I want to see a spy movie.
I remember I mentioned Rain Man. There's a flashback where Raymond is talking about how he saved his brother from the hot water because the mother wasn't paying attention. And where's the family now? How are they getting along? Like that is part of the journey as they go through a flashback or they go through a story of their childhood. That's normal. That's naturally occurring. And it didn't matter that Raymond had a mental condition or he had all these other interesting abilities of counting matchsticks or whatever. It's not about that. That's just part of his character. It's not the main focus of the story. It's how did this family operate? How did they break apart? How are they coming back together? What made them what they are? That's what the story is about, as these two brothers rekindle their relationship. So sometimes it's related, but it's how it's done, and in that element, it was a very dramatic thing because of his background and because of the way he expresses himself, and he kept saying, "Hot water burn baby, hot water burn baby," like that was this big dramatic scene. Like, what does it mean? What does it mean? Oh, it's when you saved me from getting scalded as a baby. And showing that even with his intellect, with his inability to communicate, he still loved his brother, or he loved his family. Okay.
That happening. That kind of scenario is where representation is important and not shoehorned in. But characters can be prideful or shunned because of a minority factor without it being shoved in your face. Sometimes, once again, it adds to a story or somebody's personal struggle. That kind of story occurring is not forced diversity. It's a character battle, which is basic representation, and it isn't being jogged down your throat. There is a...
Yes, it is, because it's always that.
I don't know.
And if there were that many people in the world, the species would be over.
I don't know what he means by character battle. Is that an internal conflict?
The definition of the SJWs is that being gay is automatically a struggle.
Really?
Yes.
How?
And you know who always talked about everything in life being a struggle that makes you a better character? He wrote a book about his struggle.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
But
yeah, it's like I don't. This is a lame story beat, but it's the one they're always right.
Vital difference between a character wearing a rainbow dress for 6 seasons of a show versus mentioning something once. Or in another case, where representation is never actually a plot point and a character just exists. Let's take that exact secret agent show idea that we had and make the character a woman of color. The fact that they're a woman of color has never made the forefront of the story, they're just there. It's the character. Because those kinds of people exist in real life. And this show...
Oh yeah, but you know...
What an observation.
It depends on the setting. Look, when they made this atrocious Wheel of Time destruction show, they turned Emansfield, or the whole Two Rivers region, which is described as so remote that the kingdom it is in doesn't even tax it more than every 200 years because the tax collectors just don't bother to go there because it's so hard to get there. To the point where the people don't even know they're in that kingdom because they're not being taxed. They think they're their own place. And that also means that the 3 or 4 villages and tons of little farmsteads that exist there are extremely inbred for the past 2,000 years since the breaking of the world, which was the super magic world war. So they all look pretty much the same. That's also the reason why the magic genes in that place are so strong and you get such strong magic casters from that place. There's a plot reason why the main characters are so adept at the magic. Now, what did the show do? All the people in Emansfield, well, there's barely any white people there, but you have purebred Black Africans, Chinese people, you have people, you have Indian people, you have people from everywhere around the world, and they're somehow in Emansfield. And you know what? Had they played on the story to the end, which they never would have, in a million years, they wouldn't have gotten that greenlit. The whole point is that at the end of the story, Emansfield does become such a diverse place because it takes in refugees from all over the continent in the war against the evil super people. And because they have rediscovered magic portal technology, so the travel also becomes easy to do that. They gather armies there at Emansfield. That's when the place turns diverse. But now you can't even do that. You can't have the difference because you already start with it being like all these weird people that if they remain there for like 10 generations, they would all look the same.
I'm reminded of the main character from Alan Wake 2, the black lady called Saga, who I mistakenly... Sorry?
They race changed her. That was due to Sweet Baby Ink.
Well,
Yeah.
well, the funny thing about that, because when I paid attention to the narrative, I didn't watch the entire game because there's so much to pay attention to.
Which don't bother, by the way.
I thought she was a single black mother because it made sense with the narrative because she was always worried about her daughter, and that's one of the main plot points. It's near the ending. It's all these things. And people are saying, well, Smud, you didn't know she's married. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's weird. Why would she be so concerned about her daughter if she's in a relationship with her husband and she's out of the house and the husband's with the daughter? Why would she be so worried about her daughter if they have a family? Like, it's this strange thing. And it's such an easy thing to not make her married and just, she's doing everything by herself. It's a stereotype. She's a black woman. She's strong and independent. Great, work with it. But no, she's married. So why is she bitching all the time?
Yeah,
why is she?
They retconned her to hell.
Why? Yeah. Why did they make this central conflict if this is a lifestyle and she has a frickin' husband?
Jones, and it's like, why? Yeah, why so much concern over her child if there's still a man of the house?
Yeah, it was such a weird. And she's like, "Oh, I'm not with her enough." It's like, yeah, but you have a dynamic with your partner where I'm sure he takes care of the family and the home, and maybe he also has a job, and maybe he's got parents too, and grandparents come by, or neighbors come by, or friends, and they take care of your daughter. That's a normal babysitting experience. Like, give me some realistic conflict here with this character, because I just assumed she was single because she was bitching about, oh my God, my daughter is this and that. It's like, okay. And then people correct me, well, you didn't play the game. It's like, I didn't have to. 90% of the time she's bitching about her daughter, and it would make no difference if she wasn't. So it's this silly narrative that they're inventing conflict for the sake of, I don't know, they want the family to be the central element of the story. I couldn't tell you. All right.
Well, at the same time, it's the ideology that wants to destroy the family.
That's also why they had her be the one to completely degrade Alan's place in the franchise, because the series is about him.
To make
and
him
then they just
it's not woke. So the white male protagonist has to be replaced by a black female.
Yeah. They can fuck off with that. So it was even in the trailer where she like looks down on him and degrades him to the point of, why are you here? Even though this is his franchise, this is the series that focuses on his actions, and yet they do that to him in the trailer.
All right, here is
in the announcement trailer.
Here is a super chat, and then we'll go to I believe it's donation. Here's Threadnot. Hello, sir. How you do? Reject representation, embrace relatability.
Yeah.
Because it's so strange that we can relate to non-human characters.
When even DC, whose superheroes are meant to be more admirable than anything, can still have moments of relatability.
Yeah, you could have alien species in Star Wars or any other series that has weird creatures, so long as you can understand what they're there for. Or, like, I always had problems with Star Wars because everything's weird. I have no idea what's what. They're just aliens because we got props and we made a bunch of things. And it's cool. It looks cool. But
so like even like the Superman, Clark Kent, the Man of Steel, the man who has everything, and even he has a lot of potential for stories that can make him relatable. Even if he's the most powerful of the superheroes, that is still possible. But these people are never going to reach that level.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Here is the Rice president. That's interesting. This guy is I can't even describing, I hope, The shittiest spy movie I've ever heard of. I'm not watching a spy movie to hear someone's gay little therapy session. I'm watching to see dudes use ingenuity, gadgets, and brutal violence against subhuman savages, aka communists. Okay.
So basically, what was it? The latest James Bond movie? If it was a step, if it was a step or two more woke than it already was.
Which was the last one?
I haven't watched it. I don't know.
Don't bother. In my mind, Skyfall. For me, what was the last one before the latest one? Skyfall?
No, there was one after that.
I think Bond ended for me with Skyfall.
Yeah, it's like Daniel Craig had done 3 movies before the last one that was woke.
Was it Spectre?
I think it's like whichever Daniel Craig's third one was. For me, James Bond ended there.
I also think he's a horrible Bond because he's just as emotionless a robot man.
The only thing where he was good as Bond is the remake of GoldenEye
Casino Royale.
The game. No. Aside from that,
he worked in Casino Royale because being an emotionless robot man is great at having a poker face.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why he worked in that movie.
By complete happenstance, he worked. The only other thing for me worked, and even then, he was being propped up in that one, was the remake of the GoldenEye game. And even then, it was the fact that it was the remake of the GoldenEye game. Other than that, in Casino Royale, his Bond doesn't work all that well.
Okay,
that's really it. Just to end that point with that.
I always got pissed off that his gadget was an EpiPen and a defibrillator in his car. That was his gadget. Like, ooh, cool gadget. Anyway,
yeah, I'd rather watch Spy Kids than the new Bond.
Length without her ever facing a problem that relates to her race or gender. This show can be so mainstream to where it has the eyes of Hollywood, thus meaning it is subject to all types of criticism. Then, let's say this show, despite being good, doesn't do well. You will have the same extremist audience that was aforementioned claiming, oh man, another entry into the MCU. This is the issue. Because with either of our scenarios, even if it isn't mentioned, and you point at your monitor going, oh my god, they're jamming it down our throat.
What are the choices of your scenes that you cut into the movie?
Yeah, that was
into the video?
Chainsaw Man, I think.
That's just so random.
Fuck. Yeah, it's like, it's okay.
Usually people just put it in the gaming, and he does that too, just because they like playing games while talking. But I don't know.
Well, he's had Dark Souls 1 up this whole time for that. But what I just saw is like, okay then, fine.
Fast cuts usually have to mean something.
Yeah. So, and I was off guard with that.
On the topic, as we discussed or as we explained earlier, this is basically the SJWs are like the boy crying wolf all the time. It's about pattern recognition. So when the things that they always cry about appear in movies, we know beforehand, we don't need to bother with it. And in 99 out of 100 cases, it turns out, yep, was completely right not to bother with it, not to pay money on it, not to waste time on it. The 1 in 100 is something like Andor. That's something okay.
Well, in the case of these people, it's even worse because they even further they do the thing they cry wolf about. So it's doubly so with that.
They are the wolves.
Yeah. Exactly. Perfect way to say it. It's like not only do they cry wolf on what they do, it's like to go all the way with it. Like you said, they are the wolf.
They are the wolf in sheep's clothing, crying wolf.
Yes.
Very weird strategy.
So
and
much
strangely working for the most part. But up until a point, all these things only work up until a point. Just as the boy who cries wolf. When the real wolf comes, which in this instance would probably be a bigger wolf, nobody comes for help anymore.
With the system, because newsflash, people exist. Shocker, this is representation through normalization. Every character of a...
Okay, so we have 2 words that mean the same thing, and his idea is that they're normalized by what exactly? How are they made normal?
Through putting them everywhere, which means the representation, which happens through forced diversity. The being gay is normalized. But you know what? Being gay isn't normal. It's natural, but it's not normal. These are two different words. They have different meanings.
Show is a straight white dude for every show and every movie and everything, I think that'd be a bit of a problem, because people of all types exist, and that is the truth of representation. All of these points together.
Wait.
No.
So because people are diverse, they're represented, or should be represented, and then normalized, because of course you should just have everyone diverse in your stories. Really?
There are no black Africans in Gondor.
This is a strange argument to make. It's like, well, you live in North America or you're living in Europe. We've got lots of people of different cultures and races in our cities. Therefore, our stories should have different people from different races and different cultures in your stories.
But why are there only hobbits in the Shire? That's racist.
This doesn't apply to fantasy stories, to science fiction stories, to period pieces, to futuristic stories, to alien stories. Like, if you're going to do contemporary stories, then okay, that would be very specific, but generic modern, like just it happened now. You're in the modern Western world or modern Eastern world.
Modern is just code for socialist agenda. That's what the modern audience is. It's not an audience that exists. It's an audience they want to exist by brainwashing us with all their content.
Yeah.
But it somehow doesn't work. The magic spell doesn't work and brainwash us into the modern audience. They can't figure out why it doesn't work.
Think of it this way. His argument is he wants diversity because it's normal, or he thinks it's normal. When you have a character you can't relate to because they're not normal, you're like, that's weird. Like Rain Man, you're like, that's a weird character. But the story isn't about just Rain Man. It's about his brother and their family and the people they meet along the way and where they're trying to go and the relationship they build. It's not just about his autism. There's something else going on, like a story of people growing out of something and learning something. It's not just, I have autism, I'm awesome. Let me count matches on the ground. Let me remember a phone book. That's not a story. There's stuff going on. You cannot just have the thing that I like, and then, the gay guy's doing the thing that the other character who wouldn't be gay is doing. Then why have the diverse character at all? What's the point? What's the value? It's
attention seeking.
It's having like a series of Chekhov's guns because you like guns, but you're not explaining why they are there. You're never using them. You're never using that element. Like, where's the gay guy's lover? Where's the lesbian's lover? Like, why even mention that? What's the point? I remember it was some episode of CSI Law and Order. I think it was New York or one of those in the 90s, late 90s. And one of the characters, maybe it was 2000s, one of the characters was lesbian. No one knew. And it comes to the point where, I don't know, they're getting on in years and they got to lay off some people. Like, we got to fire you. And she says, is it because I'm a lesbian? And he's like, no, it's not. I would never do that. And it's like a 5-second conversation. And everyone else, the scene just keeps going. Like, it has nothing to do with anything. It's just in there for that one scene where she's questioning why she's getting fired. And throughout the entire story, it's barely brought up and no one cares. And you have to ask why they even did that. So there's stuff that is in there which that's a pretty normal, like that's not a big deal because it's mentioned once and maybe prior to that in another episode. So it doesn't really change anything. We don't think of the character differently. She's still a functional role in the story. And that's like, I don't know, her way of quitting the show, I guess. I don't know what they wanted to do there. But it changed nothing. It's a police procedural story with lawyers and cops. So making a diverse this or that, making her black or lesbian means absolutely nothing. It's just simply nice to have, hey, okay, we got some female lawyers. We got some female cops. It's a thing. It's like, yeah, no one cares. most of the cops are male anyway. But anyway,
makes the full force statement that, quote, forced diversity doesn't exist. Because yes, there have been very rare cases where there is a product made that just try to sell you on their equality points. But that era is essentially over.
No.
They aren't being made to shove an agenda down your throat, but instead being made because there are many different types of people.
No, they're literally made to shove an agenda down our throats. They say that. They admit that.
if he thinks that era is over, why do we keep having these shitty video games that no one wants to buy or watch or play, or movies that no one wants to watch?
Yeah, we literally just had Concord, which is exactly that. And it was such a spectacular backfire.
The thing is, I don't remember whether it's Concord or Dustborn, but one of them sat in finished state for 2 years. And they're releasing both at the same time. So the one thing that there can be is that they had this thing made and waited with it for, in the positive case, that the culture war was going positively and they could shove these things out and make a profit. And in the case of Dustborn, have this Antifa psychological torture manual game.
Oh.
And because that's what it is.
I think it was Dustborn because Concord was in development for several more years than that.
Dustborn is just a manual on how to be an asshole activist and psychologically torture people, bring them into struggle sessions, gaslight them, and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's Cluster B the game, Dark Tetrad the game. The thing is, DSG money is running out. SBI has been uncovered, and there are other companies doing that same scam. And it's not looking good for the woke. So it could be that they're firing off all these things right now because they may not be able to do it at all at a later date.
I mean, it's such a point.
There was also last year, somewhere between March and May, there was an article in one of the big German newspapers, the big left-wing one, our equivalent to the Times, that was calling for and this is verbatim translated, a pause in the culture war, so that we don't lose what we have achieved so far by overextending and getting too much backlash. And lo and behold, months later, all of the stuff is slowly being dialed down. And the useful idiot activists, they keep going because they don't get the message, they don't get the memo. But all these organizations, the NGOs, all the things that push the big propaganda, they stopped doing so worldwide. So this was probably just a German version of the signal. And the important thing is to understand about the culture war. We haven't won. We haven't beaten the woke. That's nonsense. The woke are taking a strategic retreat to solidify what they have pushed so that it normalizes. They still hold the education sector. They still hold the schools. They still hold the education ministries. They still hold the universities. So they still indoctrinate through that. They will just do it more quietly again. Because in the 60s, the hippies were the big push of the woke, of the socialists, of the woke. They were the useful idiots pushing. Then you have the feminist movement. That was pushing. In the 80s, you had the gay movement. That was pushing. And every time you had a pause. Now, you have the woke push. And now it takes a pause. And give it 10 or 20 years, and you get the next extreme thing. And all the stuff that has been done now, it will slowly creep in, and you will have the pronouns still everywhere and on forms. And the next generation will grow up knowing those things as normal. It's not about you. It's not about you 20-year-olds, 30, 40-year-olds. We will be old then. They're pushing this on the children and tell them this was always the case and this is how you should do language. That's what the culture war does. It does it generation by generation by generation. That's the dangerous part. Don't think this is over.
Okay.
That's what they want you to think.
We're at the 2-minute mark. It's pretty much gone downhill about halfway through. So I don't know.
Now we're at the insanity.
Yeah. Well, you never know. It could just be lukewarm nonsense. Who knows?
Think should be shown on the big screen. Saying go woke or go broke, forced diversity ruins everything, and we don't need an agenda is dangerous.
It's the truth.
What did he just say?
It is dangerous. You're right.
I missed that. What did he say?
Of people
That was
that
insane.
just
I
try
know
to
it
sell
was
you
insane.
on their equality points. But that era is essentially over. They aren't being made to shove an agenda down your throat, but instead being made because there are many different types of people, despite what you think should be exclusively shown on the big screen. Saying go woke or go broke, forced diversity ruins everything, and we don't need an agenda is dangerous because it enforces its own mentality. And like
That's the old normal. We want the good normal back, not the bullshit that you want to make normal.
Yeah, we don't care what the sayings are. They exist for a reason. And it's like, oh, when you make woke stuff, it doesn't sell, and you can't make any more stuff because no one's buying. That's not, we didn't want to invent that. That's just reality.
It's objective fact.
Yeah, and the thing is, when the woke people say anything, they're never saying everything. You have to complete sentences that they say with their words. When he says it's dangerous to not push the agenda, to not have an agenda, because that means you don't have the agenda, to not do the all this crap, that's dangerous. The full sentence is that's dangerous to socialism. That's dangerous to our agenda if we don't push the agenda logically. And that's the same with many other things. You just have to figure out what are they actually saying, because they're only ever saying half of what they mean.
That's a very odd thing to warn people about. You can't say these terms, guys. That's not good to the agenda. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
bullshit.
It's dangerous to say go woke, go broke. Oh, because it's true?
It's like saying taxes are theft. You can't say that. That's not right. It's like, well, I mean,
It kind of is.
Well, to that, these idiots say profit is theft,
oh yeah.
and their delusions.
Anything that's positive in the wake of capitalism is bad.
Even the Bible says that taxes above 10% are a sign of bad government and should be avoided.
Yeah.
That's why the church took exactly 10%.
Exactly 10%. You're right.
Yep.
Even the
I can
Orthodox.
confirm.
As much as they could.
Yeah, that's good.
Yep.
a virus, it is a mentality that spreads through social media and clickbait news articles.
Wait. Are we talking about your religion,
Really?
or are we talking
That
about
is-
the people against it? What are you talking about?
What are you saying that's spreading on social media? Because it's definitely not the common sense that we're trying to maintain.
Yeah, the criticism is a virus. No, sir. Wokeism is a mind virus. That's the thing we're against because it's so derogatory and horrible.
Why do you think Elon was one of the first people that straight up came out and just outright said it?
Oh my God.
Well, with a big platform to also mean it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
yes, it is because it's cult think, and it works exactly as you would expect the devil to offer you a contract in any movie, where he offers you something that feels really nice, that you want in the moment, and later on he comes to collect.
Yeah.
And you will not like what he comes to collect, because you will end up in a gulag or dead.
Every time people
Literally, we have an example of that in a work of fiction, which is Spider-Man One More Day, where he makes the deal with Mephisto to try to make everyone forget that he's Spider-Man to save Aunt May's life when she's on her last legs anyway.
I was going to bring up this is where the term comes from, as far as I remember. It's from Gad Saad's book in 2020, The Parasitic Mind, where he talks about how the universities have been taking over since the 70s, and this has been the prevailing religion of these people. And
the 70s is already that's where you could see symptoms.
Right.
The process started when the Frankfurt School came to the United States.
Right.
And that was during World War II.
Oh, geez. Well, this is where the term, at least modern usage of it, came from, as far as I remember.
Mm-hmm.
They believe having diverse characters or normal representation is a political agenda, so they boycott the products which makes them bomb in the first place.
No. You can't make this argument, sir. You can't. You are accusing these people of not buying the.
You can't argue against this very objective truth.
Yeah,
it is an agenda. It is in the party agendas that they put up before elections that they want to do this.
Yeah, you cannot logically argue that the people not buying the product, and thus the product is failing, are the same people who's saying it's this virus thing. It's not for them, so they're not buying it. That's as simple as it gets. It can't just be, oh, it's not for me. Tell everyone else, and then we'll just go along with him. No, that's not how buying things works. Yes, you get second opinions, but the first opinion for you is yours, and you make the choice to buy something. So it's either it's not made for them or it is. Which one?
Yeah, and the leaders of SBI and BLM say on camera, we are trained Marxists and all of this stuff, and we do this for this agenda. But now we are supposed to believe it's not an agenda? You're a bit late to the gaslighting game, man.
Yeah. It's all
really late.
It's all these anti-woke people who are preventing the success of these products they don't want when it's not made for them. It's like, that's the stupidest thing. We're selling this luxury sedan. No one's buying it. It's like, why aren't all these poor people buying this luxury sedan? It's like they can't afford it or something.
Of these media is made, there are thousands of articles, videos, and threads that claim Hollywood is trying to shove an agenda in everyone's face and why you shouldn't support it.
The leaders of fucking Disney said that's what they're doing. We have the stream recording where they say this. We have Kathleen Kennedy saying the force is female and it's all about feminism. And we had Anita Sarkeesian many, many years ago saying that, it's not about feminism. That's just a thing to use for socialism, to advance socialism.
Well, we also had that actress last week from the Acolyte, the main actress, saying, the what is it, the male chauvinists or the whatever who are bashing the show. It's like, they're obviously not interested.
That my response to that was what? The people that already left Star Wars behind that are not giving it the time of day anymore? That's who you're talking about?
It's kind of silly. Again, it's the same argument I made before. It's that these people don't like it. They're not going to watch it. They're not your audience. And the people
they're not even here anymore.
Yeah, and the people who are watching it aren't very many. So
we're at the point where the actual Star Wars fans have to be told that Andor was actually good because they checked out before that.
So they're either part of the fandom and they're watching the show and bad, or they're not part of the fandom and not watching the show. Which one is it? The numbers don't lie, so it has to be no one's watching it because it's a bad show.
It's both. That's their double think.
I don't know.
This cycle only gets stronger as each time a media bombs. It will only give them more examples of their worldview being...
Because it sucks! They keep blowing themselves up. They suck with, was it 200 million whatever a show or whatever the frickin' budget was per season? It's like, no one's watching it. They're spending too much money. They can't afford a second season. And we saw the numbers for the Acolyte and the other Disney property.
And the answer is very simple. I said it before. Propaganda is the worst product to ever make. Nobody wants it. People won't even want it if it's free, and they still won't want it if you pay them to take it. They rather just walk away.
Right. Here's Threadnought. I've still never seen Disney Wars 2: The Last Jedi. I recommend it. I recommend seeing it because it is one of the worst films that is big budget and has that veneer of polish that you don't expect from a bad film. It's kind of like the opposite of The Room, where The Room is low budget and just horrible, but it's so amazing because it's so bad. Whereas The Last Jedi is high budget, high production, and everything in it is broken. And it's
like the second Dune trilogy. The second Dune trilogy is like the Last Jedi, or the Disney
people
trilogy.
like the second Dune trilogy, or the
what?
The
Who?
second.
No.
People didn't even read the second Dune trilogy because nobody called Frank Herbert ever an anti-Semite.
Oh, the books. I'm sorry. Okay.
The books, yeah.
I thought you meant the movies. All right, never mind.
No. I'm talking about the bloody insane books.
All right.
Yeah, the movies aren't that bad.
Okay.
Where in the sixth book, also completely out of the blue, suddenly it turns out the Bene Gesserit are controlled by the secret society from the secret undetectable planet Secret Israel. And then the Mother Superior then asks in archives, writing on a note, is it the Jews? And then gets a yes. And that's who actually controls the Bene Gesserit and the eugenics programs. And Frank Herbert was never called an anti-Semite. Because he cheers all of this stuff. So the Jewish conspiracy is totally fine if you're for it. Or I don't know. I think nobody read this far.
All right.
Because nobody called him a pedophile either.
Here is gay actor Michael Douglas. Thank you, sir.
Hey.
That scene from Starship Troopers is coming to mind right about now. It's afraid. Look at the insects squirm, all because the goyim won't slurp up their slop anymore. A reminder that your enemies are ontologically evil, and there is no wrong act against them. Well, let's not think in terms of movie Bob anymore. That's probably not a healthy way to approach that. But
first because it's movie Bob,
and we all know what movie Bob sounds like. So we don't want to go that far. We want to argue with these people in a rational, logical way and explain their biases. It doesn't matter what the bias is, as long as you identify what their observer bias or subject bias, whatever their bias is, take it apart and say, listen, this is what you believe in, or at least this is what you're blinded by. And that's why you're having problems understanding what's going on. Okay, we got a minute left.
Thus meaning corporations will be less willing to take that shot in the dark and give other people a chance. I believe that enforcing the statement of everything being forced diversity because it's mentioned or simply present is far more of a conspiracy in itself than just having people exist.
Who says it's everything?
No.
That's weird.
You fucking liar. You gaslighting piece of crap.
What? That's a weird thing to say.
Gaslighting piece of crap?
Not you. Well, he just said.
Because it's a gaslighting piece of crap.
Let me hear that one more time. I'm like, what was that about?
I think a little further. There you go.
Bombs, it will only give them more examples of their worldview being held true. Thus meaning corporations will be less willing to take that shot in the dark and give other people a chance.
What other people? What are you talking about?
10 years, for over 10 years, corporations have been doing this and only lost money to the point where they shut down. Remember BioWare? That was a company, at least the Canadian thingy, the Montreal BioWare. That's gone.
Austin, I think, is still there. I'm not sure. Is it there? I can't remember. Oh, yeah, they killed like 80 jobs last year, or was it 800? I can't remember the number. But all the seniors left, all the main people left. Now they just have the young hires. And we're going to get bloody another Dragon Age in another month or two. So, I don't know if you guys saw the gameplay.
Yes.
Oh, boy. I had to stop watching after 3 minutes. I'm like, this is boring me.
You guys did a cast on it. Of course, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Forcing the statement of everything being forced diversity because it's mentioned or simply present is far more of a conspiracy in itself than just having people exist.
I don't know what
Again, I was like, who says it's everything?
How is that a conspiracy? Who's thinking it's a conspiracy? It's simply a fact that when people put crap in media that doesn't belong, that doesn't naturally fit the narrative, people go, wait a second, something's wrong. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's political. It doesn't matter if it's sexual. It doesn't matter. It doesn't feel right. The narrative starts shaking and the audience goes, yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, and the racially skewed SAT scores for university entry, where black Americans don't need as many points as white people, and Asians need ludicrously more points than white people. That's been in existence for decades, and the left wanted it because they want their racial quotas. They don't care about the success of people; they want racial quotas. They want the right mix-up, and the Supreme Court took that away, and the left cried because they couldn't do the racism anymore. The same racism that you want to do, that the BBC is doing, that Amazon is doing. You want to judge people based on the color of their skin. You want people to be present based on the color of their skin, not because of their characters, not because of their merit. You are a petty little racist. You're worse than a racist. You are a race fetishist. Because you get a little high when you see people of certain races, usually those that are not yours.
Yeah, if I was watching a episode of an anime show about cooking, and one of the cooking competitions is pasta, I'd be like, well, where's the Italian? I want to see an Italian fight against some Japanese. Or, like, what? I want to see him blow them out of the water. Like, and it's just a bunch of Asians fighting a bunch of other Asians. I'm like, okay. I'll be disappointed, but, you know.
Yeah. I also want to say, it's like, I literally want to smack every single person on the internet that says that all this shit is a conspiracy when that's all we've been seeing for the past 10 years in the open.
Yeah,
it's quite obvious.
Is.
I don't know.
That's what gaslighting is. They lie about reality.
I don't know.
I want to deck them in the back of the head.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
When they say it's a conspiracy.
Why would they, like, they think there's some conglomerate of people in the media that do this? No, it's just that's the politics of the times. It's not. It's very open in public. Everyone knows the left.
Well, then it's an open conspiracy.
Okay.
Yeah, although to be also like the media is part of the problem in this case, just straight up. That can't be denied at this point.
All right, we got 50 seconds.
Sentiment that having all types of people is important will not only benefit how you feel towards what you consume, but also how you express those opinions on the media.
How
is that a factor in criticism?
How is having Rose, an Asian in Star Wars, make me criticize Star Wars? Like, what are you talking about? What? How is having Finn a black guy make me criticize? Like, what do you? It makes no difference.
It's just crazy talk.
Who cares what race and sex and alien and species?
He's trying to condition us into, if these races are there, we cannot criticize it.
Yeah, like remember. I don't know if you guys saw the Wookiee mind control fight scene in the Acolyte. I just saw like a 30-second clip. It wasn't the fact that it was a Wookiee Jedi Master or whatever. I have some questions about that. Fine, do that. It was because it was slow. He was swinging his lightsaber like a club, and I'm like, this is a master? Maybe he's mind controlled, and everyone's like, oh my god, we don't want to hurt each other. Maybe. But I was bored. Like, this is not a lightsaber battle. This is boring.
This is a Wookiee with a club.
With a very deadly sword that he's swinging really slowly like a club, and I'm like, this is boring. You could do so many things with a Wookiee. Yeah.
Not agenda or something trying to make you change your political view. The beautiful part of representation and having the world of entertainment is that everyone can be allowed a chance.
What does that mean? A chance to what?
I don't want to allow pedophiles a chance.
To get screen time? Oh, look, there's a black guy on screen in this Scandinavian story in the Middle Ages.
Uh-huh.
What? Yay, he's diversity. He's being represented where he has no idea where he belongs. Or the modern one, which is Yasuke.
You have a chance. It's called life.
Yeah, the
only time when you don't have that chance is when your mother aborted you.
the actual historical example of the black guy in Edo Japan or pre-Edo Japan, and the Japanese like, no, this is not accurate. You're making a mockery of this. Stop it. It's like, oh, we can do that, but then the actual people that you're representing are pissed off at you.
Yeah, and they complained about Ghost of Tsushima's cultural appropriation, but Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is real cultural appropriation and malicious and horrible and would deserve that term. Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. Let's have the black African massacre all the innocent Japanese peasants.
Well,
I'm sure the Japanese will like that.
Well, all the depictions of Ghost of Tsushima.
The hip hop music, by the way.
Yeah. Everyone loved Ghost of Tsushima, the magical, realistic, all the nuance, the art style, the way you could control it, the Shintoism, like all this beautiful artwork and this journey you go on, this violent journey. Like, holy crap, fantastic storyline. What do we get in Assassin's Creed Shadows? A chick with a giant sword on her back, which is a little obvious what's going on there. I don't know if you saw the animations for her. She was jumping on the rooftops. It's like a very slow.
What, with that big ass thing on her back?
It looks very slow. Like, this is not the proper animation they should be using.
This is not Assassin's Creed, case in point.
Something was off. Yeah, I didn't know. I could, again,
everything.
I can't articulate exactly what's wrong with that because I'd have to spend some time and think about it, but it looks off. This should be a very simple thing. Like, she's doing these back flips and front flips like it's nothing. Like, she's superhuman, but it's slow. And you're like, wow, that takes a lot of strength to do it slow. So, anyway.
Misbelief, quote, they're coming for our lives, stop you from giving something a chance. Or do. I'm not your dad.
Oh, like what, the gay choir that's literally saying we're coming for the children? I'm sorry, I can't. Fuck off.
Yeah, full of pedophiles.
That was weird.
Like more than half of them.
All right, whatever.
We're done.
We are finished.
What a stupid asshole.
What a weird.
There are memes.
If you lie that much, I am completely fine with calling people that.
Right. Memes, starting with Cowboy Bebop, the person.
Okay, when I'm in a racial diversity competition and my opponent is the racist community.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not going to read this, guys. I work a new job. My boss. Yeah, okay. You guys read that. You're a diversity hire. They needed a tard to fill their quota. That's great.
Yeah.
Who was the real hero of World War II? Truman, Winston Churchill.
Deleted.
I don't know. You need to stop mansplaining. Maybe you need to start woman understanding. As I was saying, 52% of violent crimes. Uh-oh.
Oh man, the Britain just brought this about their population and they didn't notice it. It's the same numbers.
Mao has gone woke. I go by she, her. The East has fallen. Mao's little pronoun book. Oh. There ain't no hose here, conscript. It's New Year's Eve in Grozny. You're gonna fucking die. What the hell? Is that an allusion to the female snipers, or?
I guess.
I think so. Is that? I don't remember. I do know women make excellent snipers. I just don't know what this refers to.
Do they?
Yeah. Op actually can stop. Refuses. Yeah, no, he's died in the wool. He's pretty much the same, playing with the same team. Yeah. And the Yakubians, where are they now? You're looking at them, asshole. The highest law is nature, and the greatest wisdom forever lives in its eternal fascism. Taylor Swift. Oh,
Are you sure that's a quote from her?
that's a. I really hope that's a doctored image. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm a bit confused. Uh-oh. Compact .50 AE Deagle. I'm concealed carrying. I have no idea what. Oh, sorry.
Where did you jump to? It is that one.
The Wendy's employee that gave me medium fries instead of
Medium fries.
medium
What?
fries.
Okay.
I do. I am. Is this an American thing? I don't know
I guess.
what is happening here. You must really love Wendy's fries, sir.
I'm American by association, so I don't know.
Yeah. Is this the meme? But it's instead of the black guy, it's the whatever Nintendo dog thing.
K. Yeah, it is that meme.
I'm tired of this world. Tone, these people. Oof, Madonna or Madonna.
More Concord.
Yeah, I don't want to read that. But Koma-chan, we're supposed to act out the citizens of pre-World War II Germany. What's a Germany? Hail Hitler! No, I want to be Hitler. God. Holy Jesus.
Double post, moving on.
I am the storm that is approaching. I am the storm that is approaching. Dante, I am the storm that is approaching.
Yeah, that's Virgil's theme song in DMC5.
I bring a sort of I am a surgeon vibe to the hospital that Dr. Han don't really like.
Okay.
I know the show. I'm just trying to connect the dots there. I was there 3,000 years ago. Oh, so there were black elves and dwarves. What happened to them?
That one never gets old, I swear to God.
Yeah, what happened to the black hobbits?
Yeah.
Oh, gee. I don't know. That's one of life's greatest mysteries.
Nobody gives two shits
Anyway.
about your race, gender, or sexuality. Just the audience. A good product.
I would say just give the audience a good product.
Yeah. Very
Which is true. It's just as long as it's good and fits and makes sense within its within its own logic, within logic. It's just that's all we want. That's the baseline. That's all we want to start with.
That's an Image comic, I believe. I can't quite tell.
I think so.
Yeah, I've never read it.
You see the eye on the upper left.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but the statements, yeah, Image. But that's just the reality. It's just no one cares about any of these other factors. Just give us a good product.
I like this one. How will kids relate to characters if we don't make them represent their race, sex, religion, height, or weight? I totally get you, Boomba.
Yeah, Hakuna Matata. Yeah, it's that simple. Atomic Blonde.
Atomic Blonde. Oh, don't watch that. No.
It's dog shit, I assume.
You don't want to watch that. There, watch this instead. The series is
La Femme Nikita.
Yeah, the series is great. The movie's pretty good. Yeah, no, it's good stuff.
When's that one from? La Femme Nikita?
Oh, the movie? The 90s?
Yeah,
and the series came out late 90s, I believe.
Okay, yeah, it does look it.
Yeah, the series is actually pretty good, believe it or not. Canada has some weird series that just they work sometimes. I don't know. It's weird.
Good to know.
And me, when I find out that Ryan Gosling is not actually an autistic loner and is happily married with 2 kids.
He was not an autist in that movie. He was a psychopath.
Yeah.
Which movie? He's quite a few. He plays those characters. Not the Barbie movie.
No, definitely not.
Driver?
In Barbie, he's the one with common sense.
Isn't this Christian Bale from American Psycho and not Ryan Gosling?
Is that the joke?
No, it's like that's the expression the person makes when they realize the thing about Gosling.
I'm assuming it's not Blade Runner. So anyway,
I hope not.
Yeah. The Golden Sir, me showing. Okay, me reaping. Well, this fucking sucks.
Oh, it's a reap what you sow joke.
Okay. Disagreeing with my worldview means you are dangerous, therefore you have to be exiled from society or killed. Jesus.
Yeah, that's the socialists.
That's the complete socialist communist logic. That's why they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why their ideology is war on humanity.
Yeah, this is the
You
perfect.
have to boil it down to that.
This is the perfect one-sentence summary of socialism. Just spread that one around. That's how does this summarize in one sentence? That's it. Just take it and spread it around. That's anyway.
I'm not sure what's going on here, but maybe Wisp can make a comment. Is it them, Yogi? It is always them, Boo Boo. This post was fact-checked by Frank Herbert to be true.
What? Okay.
I don't.
Yes. That's book 6.
Oh.
Okay.
That's book 6. It's
Okay.
them.
All right then.
Playing Concord.
But it's good that it's them. That's the difference.
Posting
Yeah,
memes.
this is just true. Like playing Concord, no one.
Yeah.
Posting memes and discussing the fallout of Concord, everyone.
I saw a Twitter post of someone complaining if only people were playing Concord, we'd get an actual live game because it takes like minutes and minutes to match up to get a game going.
Yeah, it was like so Concord is a 5-on-5 game, and it had at one point 19 players.
Yeah, and then
which is really great for those 9 people who can't get a game.
Yeah, and that's not even. And then the next meme, which is not even talking about the game journalist trying to damage control for the game and trying to like give it a chance, please. No.
Yeah, and then it was all this thing where all these other gaming companies, most of them were just all other ways, where then this weekend we're all gonna play Concord. And they still couldn't push the numbers up very much, so that probably their own workers were doing it.
I saw a guy on YouTube buy all the hard copies of Concord at some store for I don't know why he did that, but just because he couldn't find it online. Look, the modern audience. Oh, yeah. Play it, Smud. You need it after this. All right, what is that?
ゆうくんの好きにしていいんだよ。だって全部ゆうくんのものなんだから。
D.E.D. That's the name you should know. D.E.D. He's the king of the show. You'll holler and hoot. He'll give Kermit a boot. D.D.D. is the one.
All right.
That's it.
There is actually an anime called Day-to-Day, but different character.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, sir, and ma'am, whoever's out there, for the wonderful memes. Yeah, this guy, harmless to me. I don't think he's going to influence anyone, but yeah, he's dyed in the wool. Kind of silly. What a silly approach to the argument of, well, we should have diversity because, it's normal.
Yeah, he drank the Kool-Aid a long time ago.
Yeah.
Conspiracy again. It's like I want to smack anyone that says that this shit is a conspiracy. Just a good smack upside the head, because this is all we've had for the past 10 years. Straight up, the last 10 years.
We need to open the borders to increase the diversity, because diversity that should be, and now we have all the diversity, so we should put it in all the media because that's normal. The left uses several malicious political strategies. One of them, in Germany, we call creating facts. And that's what this is. They do things, and then they claim, oh, it's always been this way. This is the good thing. Because the left isn't actually about change for the sake of change. It is for change until it has what it wants, and then it is conservative about that. Then you can't change that anymore, because that would be counter-revolutionary. That would be regressive. That would be, what's the other word? Reactionary. So once they have to have what they want, no more change. Then it stays that way.
All right, we got 2 super chats. We'll call it a night. Here's the Frog of Jupiter. Did you hear about Joker 2? Critics hate it. I know it premiered 2 days ago at the Italian Film Festival, and TIFF just started up 2 days ago as well. I don't know if it's in Toronto.
if the Rotten Tomatoes critics already hate it, that's a good sign.
Oh yeah.
Well, it could also be super bad that even they don't like it.
It has Lady Gaga, so I'm like, I don't know.
They wanted to turn it into some musical thing, and I'm not for that.
That'll be interesting. Yeah. I have no idea. I still haven't seen Deadpool. I have to get around to watching these films this year.
I would say it's like the musical
They changed
thing.
the Harley plot, and no,
Yeah.
thank you.
And one
Can't
more.
be any worse. Can't be any worse than Suicide Squad.
And here's Thread Knot. Have you seen how much they uglified Rose Tico's actress? She's gorgeous.
Yes.
They made her look unhumanly ugly and annoying to the point of being hated. I don't think
The character. I said this back in the day, that the actress is actually cute. People did not attack the actress. They only complained about the character.
I
And in
remember.
order to paint this as some drama, the SJWs claimed, "Oh, the actress was harassed." No, people just hate the character.
That's how you know they're lying.
I was going to say
They always lie.
they were going to use her sister, because when you see the sister, she's a more attractive female in the movie, and her death would have spurred her on to some sort of dramatic extremism, and be emotional or be whatever, shocked, hardened, and they never
said she
really,
was just borderline.
and she just
Borderline.
got angry at
Strike one, attacking someone who is essentially a war
Her
hero.
hero.
That
her
which
personal hero.
which would put which would qualify what she did to him as tantamount to a war crime, essentially.
And treason.
They're basically the equivalent of attacking a veteran.
Well, they never worked with that angle, that would have been very simple and easy. She mentioned her sister, but that's like, okay, work with that, Rose. That's your background. Express that onto Finn, yada yada. No, one scene with that, and then she zaps him, and you're like, okay, whatever.
It's like Finn didn't want to be involved in a lot of this stuff, but the fact of the matter is, he still did what he did to save the galaxy, no matter what other factors were in play. So what you did to him, what Rose Tico did to him, was just criminal, to say the least.
And she accidentally, due to Ryan's incompetence, written like a perfect example of borderline personality disorder.
Yes.
She is completely emotionally unhinged. In every scene, she is just a different emotion to the extreme that is fitting to the scene, but it doesn't make any sense overall throughout the whole thing. She doesn't have a consistent emotional state. She's an insane cartoon character, and she's vengeful. She's jealous. She forces herself on Finn, who doesn't want her. It's just atrocious, and she sabotages the entire fucking operation.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go relax and have some tea or something cool, relaxing this evening. There's a bunch of Steam games that are for demos that are free. You could check out some side scrollers. I was playing, I think it was Jotun Slayer, which was like a Vampire Survivor style game, but set in Norse, and it's just a short little demo, but it's fun. A lot of great games past months and a bit that I haven't had time to play, but I'm just slowly getting back into. So take a break, relax. There is good media out there. We just gotta find it. So take it easy. I will talk to you soon. Have yourself a good Friday, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Good night.
Good night.